Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. And this is the day that the Lord has made, and we should rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to Hope TV. I'm Dewey Smith. I am the chief hope dealer here, and I'm so excited that you tuned in on this Friday. Grateful that you carved out a portion of your Friday to spend with us here at the Hope TV. We appreciate you all. It's amazing. We've come to this last, the end of the month. We're nearing the end of the month of April, and God has been so good. We're 13 months strong into the Hope TV, and because of your support, we've been able to garner over 120 million views of our content throughout all of the platforms. And to that, we say to God be the glory. So to everyone who's watching through Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, Amazon, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Live, edewismith.org, House of Hope, ATL.org, the Hope TV. However you're viewing, God bless you today. I'm just thankful. I really, really am, and God is so good. God, to see each of you. Drop us a line. Good to see you, Brian Ward. God bless all of you. I'm so thankful for each of you for being a part of our Hope TV community today. It means the world to us. And I'm just thankful. I really, really am. God is just awesome, and He's blessing us right now. I hope you're blessed. Hope you're walking in the favor of God. And if you're watching, drop me a line. Let me know the city, state. Good to see you, Tina. God bless you for being a part. Let me know the city and the state and the country from which you're viewing. It means the world to us. Your viewership. Without your viewership, we're nothing. And I'm just grateful to you. Thank God for each of you for being a part, and your support means the world to us. And what a blessing, what an honor it is to be here with you. And I'm grateful. I really, really am. We don't take this lightly. We don't take your support lightly. I know I don't, because people don't have to support you. People don't have to be nice, and I'm thankful to God for that. God has been so gracious and so merciful. And I don't know about you, but I don't know where I'd be without the mercies of God. Just His mercies are new every morning, and He's faithful, and I'm thankful that even when I've been unfaithful, and He's still faithful to us. And I thank God for you. So drop me a line, let me know the city, the state, and the country from whence you are viewing. To God be the glory. I'm excited for what all you're doing. Thank you for your support of the ministry. Those who've been supporting our church. Our ministries, thank you. Those who've been supporting the House of Hope Atlanta, the House of Hope Macon, and our newest church, the House of Hope West Point, our newest addition and expansion in West Georgia. We're going strong there in West Point. And this coming Sunday, we're having our first virtual service with the West Point location. I'm excited about that. You'll be able to see a virtual worship experience. So all three locations will have their own individual worship services this coming Sunday. That's exciting. Of course, Macon will have its, the House of Atlanta will have its virtual service. Then I have a virtual service with the West Point location in our West Point facility this coming Sunday at 10 o'clock. Good to see you, Sean Addison. God bless you. Thank you so much for being a part, and everybody who's here today. I'm thankful. Thank you guys for supporting us, and I want to thank you for supporting Hope TV. Also want to thank you for supporting my new music. I've done 3 interviews today already, 3 conversations today with radio stations across the nation, talking about my music, and that's so exciting, man. It really is. Your presence is a gift. My new single is out, and man, I'm just, as my mom would say, tickle pink about the music opportunities, and I'm thankful for you for your support, and I really, really am. And if you're not yet downloaded, you go get it. It's on all digital platforms. Your presence is a gift, and please go get it, download it, check it out, and let me know. Get ready for it. My album is going to drop in June, end of June, 1st of July. And I'm excited about you getting my whole first solo project on my new record label. And also I signed my first artist. We signed our first artist to our record label. and his first single drops in 2 weeks. I can't wait till y'all hear it. My artist, we're gonna start promoting it next week. But my our first artist, his album we dropping shortly as well. And then in the fall, the church album will come out. So we're releasing 3 albums this year through the record label. And man, I'm just excited. And been a long time coming. And God is just great, and He's awesome, and He's letting it all come to pass as He said He would. And so to that we say, to God be the glory. All right, we're going to get ready to get into our lesson today, and I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are ready to go with us. Thank you so much, producers. If you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share, then please do so. Every time you subscribe, you can get notifications as to when new content is uploaded. So you can subscribe to get the notifications. Please hit that like button. I need you guys to hit the like button. I mean, I say that all the time, but I don't think you realize how helpful that is to us in terms of us being able to get the algorithms, to get the numbers. It helps us tremendously with social media. Please hit that like button. If you're watching Facebook, hit that like button. YouTube, if you're YouTube, Facebook, hit that like button, please. Your comments help us with our algorithms and engagements, and the shares are important as well. So hit that like button, comment, and share. Hit that like button. All right, we've been talking about the providence of God, and I'm excited about that. The providence of God, and I want to give you a definition of that. The providence of God. The providence of God. And one of the things we said about the providence of God is the providence of God is very simple. It's God's. I like this. This sentence every time I read it, it makes me want to shout. The providence of God, God's providence simply says that God is continually involved with all created things. I mean, if you don't, I mean, just, I mean, I don't know why is it that a sentence send me in every time? Just a doggone sentence. God is continually involved with all created things. I mean, I hadn't even finished the sentence yet. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Brian. God is continually involved. If you hear nothing else I say the rest of the day, no matter what you've done in your life, God is continually involved. When people want to discontinue you, when you're not worthy of His continuation, but God is continually involved with all created things in a way that He keeps the sentence that number. So that sentence there, not even finished. But that first part, it messes me up. I mean, but then He keeps them existing. It preaches by that's preaching in the sentences. God is continually involved with all created things in such a way that number one, He keeps them existing. I mean, if somebody want to know why you're here, just okay. Let me stop preaching. Y'all can tell I missed the pulpit. Okay, He keeps them existing and maintaining the properties with which He created them. So He keeps them and maintains the properties. I told you a couple weeks ago about how God maintains the properties of the ocean, how God created the oceans, but maintains the properties of the Atlantic and the Pacific, that they meet but don't mix. That He maintains the properties of the constellations, of nature, of the sun. The reason why the sun keeps rising in the east and setting in the west, because God maintains the properties. The moon comes over every night. God maintains the property. Rain falls from the sky, hits the ground, evaporates, goes back up into the clouds, keeps them existing. God maintains and keeps the properties. So that's what God does, all right? And we talked about a couple of things. We talked about concurrence, but today we're talking about government. I didn't finish this last week. I want to run through it again because I felt I got through 3 points. I didn't finish it last week. And I want to go back through that. I'm not going to hold you very long, but I want to go back through because I don't think I didn't get a chance to finish. I feel like I was rushing a little bit last week. And I want to go back through it to make sure that you have this. Y'all ready? We're talking about how God governs. How does God govern? How does God govern? Greeting to you, Coach T. Root to the good bros. How does God govern? How does God govern? All right. Um, here's the point. Even though God governs, even though God keeps and maintains the properties, even though God is one who governs, here's the point. We're still responsible for our actions. Okay? We are still responsible for our actions. Y'all see that? So even though God governs, we are still responsible for our actions. I hope y'all get that. We are still responsible for our own actions. Did y'all see that? I'm gonna say it again. We are still responsible for our own actions. Y'all see that? So God, um, God governs, but our actions, we're responsible. Now that's important because what happens a lot of times is we try to make it seem like because God governs that the activity of humanity that we're not responsible for our actions. So our actions, brothers and sisters, have real consequences. That even though God acts, even though God governs, we still have responsibilities, okay? There are things that we're still responsible for. That's very, very important. That just because God is governs does not preclude us of our responsibilities. Okay? Y'all got it? So we are still responsible for the stuff that we do. Um, God's governance does not absolve us of our responsibility. Now that's important because a lot of times we want to make it seem like because God governs that we is all left in God's hands and not our own. We've been talking about this for a while because it's so important that we realize that human beings' actions have consequences. So just because God governs and keeps us maintaining does not mean that we sit back. We talked a little bit about predestination last week. I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna push it further today. Talk about reform next week. I was gonna do it today, but I feel like I didn't finish this. We're gonna talk about reformed. We're gonna talk about Calvinism. We're gonna push real hard next week. Arminianism. We're gonna push it real hard next week. So I need y'all to be ready for next week. But I need to finish this first. I want to make sure we do this because there are some views. Calvinism comes from the word John. I want you to remember this is the guy's name, John Calvin. John Calvin. You've heard John Calvin. John Calvin is a disciple of a guy whose name was Martin Luther. Martin Luther. Those are two important figures in a period that we call the Protestant Reformation. John Calvin, well, Martin Luther's first, and then John Calvin. The Protestant Reformation. If you go to the 16th century, um, uh, the Protestant Reformation comes on the scene in defiance of the mother church, which was Roman Catholicism. I want y'all to get those names: Martin Luther, John Calvin. Very important names. At that time, the mother church was really Catholicism. It was Catholicism. It was the Catholic Church. And what was happening? Um, a lot of things. The church has always been imperfect because it's comprised of imperfect people. But they were doing some things, and doctrinally, that were problematic. One such thing was they were doing something called this. They were selling what was called indulgences. 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 And what an indulgence was, an indulgence really was like, how can I break it down? It was like an a la carte list. Like you go to it was like a menu of prayers. What I mean by that, say for instance, you went to the church because you cussed somebody out. Well, it's almost like they had a list where you need a cussing out prayer. So we're gonna charge you $5 for that prayer. Well, why are you here? Well, I got drunk. Okay, well that's gonna be $7.50. Okay, just kind of breaking down for you. Well, I cussed somebody out and I got drunk. Well, we're gonna give you a 50-cent discount. Well, that's gonna be $7. It's almost like they had an a la carte list for the priest, and if you paid for it, you got prayer based upon the money you paid. And John Calvin really was, because they really were doing these things to fund the church and the building programs. Because even then, and now the Catholic Church is probably one of the richest religious organizations uh, of all time. And so Martin Luther comes on the scene, and he stands against these doctrines, the selling of indulgences, and this overemphasis on the priesthood. And Martin Luther came out with what he called the priesthood of all believers. And Martin Luther said, listen, we ain't got to go to no. First of all, we wouldn't be praying for no prayers. Secondly, do we really have to go to the priest to pray for us? When Christ died, the veil of the temple was rent in twain, which means now we have what he called the priesthood of all believers. And he wrote what's called 95 Theses. He hung them on the church there in Germany, basically to say that the Catholic Church was wrong for these things. And out of that movement with Martin Luther came what's called the Protestant Reformation. The Protestant Reformation. That was started by this guy, Martin Luther. Um, Most of us have heard of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Sr., Martin Luther King Jr. Ironically, Martin Luther King Sr. pastored the church where I pastor now, Good Travis Rest. I spoke. He pastored that church for almost 10 years back in the 20s and 30s. A lot of people don't know that. Before he got married, matter of fact, when he pastored our church, all of his children were born there. A lot of people, this little history fact I like to throw out every now and then. But Martin Luther King Sr., the old man, pastored the church where I serve now. And he got married to his wife. All three of his children were born there. But a lot of people don't know this. His name was not Martin Luther King originally. They adopted that name in honor of this guy, Martin Luther, I'm telling you about. Martin Luther, who started the Protestant Reformation. That was started by Martin Luther. John Calvin comes after Martin Luther. Okay? So they are two pioneer leaders. Now, brothers and sisters, I am a Protestant. Okay, those of you who are watching now, um, if you heard Dr. King's speech on the March on Washington, he said, "I have a dream that one day Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, Protestants, Baptists, Methodists, they're called Protestants. That came from protest. It broke away from the Catholic Church. Protestants and Catholics will basically sit down. So if you're not a Catholic, he says you're Protestant. Protest. We've been protesting for 500 years. But anyway, those gentlemen, John Calvin and Martin Luther, are very important to this conversation. And I'm going to pick more up with that next week. One of the things that John Calvin talked about with this whole view of predestination, and some people believe that, okay, every part of our life is already ordered and determined by God. I call it sometimes classic Calvinism. Calvinism coming from the word John Calvin. So a lot of people believe some people are extreme in their views of Calvinism, for they say that we shouldn't pray. Everything with our life has been determined. Brothers and sisters, we don't believe. I don't believe. I don't teach that every part of our life is predetermined. And so some of them say we don't have to pray, we don't have to read the scriptures, because everything about our lives has already been determined. I don't believe that. What I'm saying to you is this: even though God governs, even though God is providential, point one, we're still responsible for our own actions, which have real and eternally significant results. So just because God governs and God is providential does not mean that Adam and Eve didn't have consequences for their actions in Genesis chapter 3. Okay, let me go to the next one right quick. I'm almost finished with this. Point two, our actions have real results and do change the course of events. Our actions can change the course of events. What do you mean by that, preacher? Here's what I mean. Adam and Eve were chilling in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were doing great in the Garden of Eden, right? Was God providential in the Garden of Eden? Yes, God was. Was God in control in the Garden of Eden? Yes, God was. Well, what happened in the Garden of Eden? Here's what happened in the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, Adam disobeyed God. And because Adam's actions led him to disobey God, his actions have real results and change the course of events. So what happened? When Adam disobeyed God, he was kicked out of the garden. So it changed the course of events. Does that make sense? All right. So it changed the course of events. So just because, just because God is providential does not mean that there aren't that aren't actions or that won't be recourse for actions. Our actions can change the course of events. Um, if you go out there and you are speeding and you hit somebody, God is providential, but our actions have real results and can change the course of events. Um, if you got high blood pressure and you're eating pork chops and collard greens and Pepsi Coke at midnight, and you already got high blood pressure and hypertension, and you're diabetic, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, if your blood pressure rises, just because God is providential does not mean our actions can't change. Now you got to leave here and go to the hospital somewhere. Providence does not stop the consequence of human actions. All right, so our actions can have real results and change the course of events. Three, we'll go number three right quick. Here's one I like. Prayer. Here's what prayer. Prayer is one specific kind of action that has definite results. Lord have mercy. Prayer. When we pray, prayer is one specific kind of action that has different results. That when we pray, Jesus says, I talked about this last week, that if you pray, your joy can be full. I think that's why I kind of stopped last week. That when I pray, put that John 16:14. This is why I stopped last week. That when I pray, that my prayer can bring some joy back. Lord have mercy. You got that? He said, before now you've asked nothing in my name. But ask, you right there, Aries, ask and you shall receive, that your joy might be full. This is we stopped last week. He says, listen to me. I told you this last week. You and I can you and I can go to the gas station and put gas in our cars. He says, you also have the power of your joy. You can control your own joy tank. If you pray and you can receive, that your prayer life can bring you joy. He said, now this is deep. It doesn't mean that God is, so while God is providential, there's still power in your prayer. The inference I want to make here is, if you don't have joy, is it because God is not providential, or is it because you ain't praying? So two things can be true at once. God is providential, yes, and there's still power in your prayers. God can act, yes, but your prayer can activate. Prayer can activate things in our lives. Lord have mercy. So God can act, and your providence can act, and your prayers can activate. Woo! I just said something. I said, providence can act, and prayer can activate. So my point is that whenever I pray, I can activate some stuff. You can activate some stuff. So my whole piece is, and that doesn't mean God doesn't govern. That doesn't mean that God is not providential. It means that you and I can literally open up I told you last week, Matthew 18, Jesus said, I'm going to give unto you the keys to the kingdom. Keys representing authority. And then whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Does that sound like your prayer don't have any efficacy? Here's what James says: you have not because you ask not. Right in Hebrews, here's another one. The effectual and fervent prayer of the righteous avail much. Here's another one. There being the sick among you, call for the elders of the church. Let them anoint you with oil and pray the prayer of faith, and you shall recover. Here's another one. Come boldly, Hebrews 4, before the throne, that you may obtain mercy and find grace to help in our time of need. Does that sound like that? Does that sound like that? Just God is up there just acting, and we don't have no kind of power without our prayer lives or our actions? So even though Providence, thanks Tina, even though Providence acts, prayers can activate. And our prayers activating does not mean that God's not in control. Two things can be true at once. Providence can act and prayer can still activate. And our prayers activating does not mean that Providence does not act. That's good stuff for somebody. I'm going to give you one more. Even though we have God's providence, we must act. Go to 2 Samuel 10 and 12. Hold on a second. I'm going to give you that point. Even though we have God's providence, we must act. We must act. So don't just rely on God's providence. We can act as well. Okay? Look what it says here in 2 Samuel. Thank you, Sean. You got it. Look at 2 Samuel 10, 12. Be of good courage, and let us play the men for our people, and the cities for our God, and the Lord do that which seemeth good. So that's some things we can do. And while we do what we can do, we're going to sit back and let God do what God does. Okay? That's some stuff we going to do. Right? And while we're doing we going to do, we're going to wait and see how God chooses to handle it. Do y'all see the difference there? Do y'all see it? That's some stuff we can do. And while we do what we can do, we're going to sit back and see what God sees. All right? All right? We're going to do our part. And once we do our part, we're going to sit back and see how providence. So here it is. We're going to activate, but we're going to let providence act. We're not just sitting back and we're not going to do nothing. That's some stuff we can do through the men of our city and for our people and for our God. But once we do our part, then we're going to trust God's providence. Does that make sense? So there's a duality here. It's not just sitting back waiting on God. There is a human sense of activity as well. Look at Acts 18, 9 and 10. I'm almost finished. Then spake the Lord to Paul in the night by a vision. Be not afraid, but speak, and hold not thy peace, for I am with thee, and no man shall sit on thee to hurt thee. For I have much people in this city. Look what God says here. God says, Paul, the Lord came to Paul at night in a vision and said, Paul, don't you be scared. Okay? I want you to still open your mouth. You keep declaring my word. Paul, you activate. For I am with thee, and no man shall sit on thee to hurt thee, for I have much people in the city. So what God says so here, look at this duality in verse 10. God says, my providence is going to act. He says, Paul, I'm going to act in such a way because I'm with you and nobody's going to hurt you. I got plenty of people in this city. So my providence is going to act. My providence is going to act. That's providential action. Okay? I'm with you. Nobody going to hurt you. Providence is going to act. Okay? But Paul, verse 9, I need you to activate. Let your preaching activate. Paul, you got to act. You activate. If you activate in verse number 9, I'll act in verse number 10. Paul, when you do your part and speak, don't be afraid, speak, and don't you hold your peace. Don't you be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Paul, see, don't just sit back and wait for me. Okay, God's gonna take care of me. I know you're gonna take care of me. It's almost conditional. It's almost a conditional promise. It's almost like God said to Paul, Paul, when you do your part, I'm gonna do mine. See, here's the thing. Many of us sit back and wait on God to take care of us. But we won't even feel our command. We want God to protect us in verse 10, but we won't carry out our purpose in verse number 9. Paul, your purpose is to not be afraid, to speak, and don't hold your peace. And if you carry out your purpose in verse 9, I'll protect you in verse 10. If you activate purpose in verse number 9, I'll act providentially in verse number 10. I'm going to say it one more time. Paul, if you activate purpose in verse 9, I will act providentially in verse 10. Oh, is this making sense to you? So at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, God governs and God rules, but God rules not separate from human activity. I'm going to close with this, and I'm gonna go heavy next week, but I think I laid the foundation. John Calvin, the one I just told you about, we'll talk more about him next week, made a statement that's probably one of the most profound statements in my life that I've read, from a philosopher theologian. John Calvin basically said, the gist of it is our deliverance in life, miracles, is often based on two things: divine sovereignty and human responsibility. Y'all got that? There are two things that bring deliverance and miracles and breakthrough in our lives: divine sovereignty, human responsibility. Divine sovereignty, that's providential action. Human responsibility, that's people activation. I'm going to say it again. There are two things that bring miracles, breakthrough, and deliverance: divine sovereignty. Let me spell that word for you: sovereignty. S-O-V-E S-O-V S-O-V-E-R-E-I-G-N-T-Y. Sovereignty. The sovereignty of God. All right? Make sure I got that right. I'm going to have a little brain freeze. Divine sovereignty. Did y'all hear me? I'll make sure y'all got that, because it's very important that we get it. Divine sovereignty. S-O-V-E-R-E-I-G-N-T-Y. I had it right. Sovereignty. Divine sovereignty and human responsibility. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chef. Divine sovereignty and then human responsibility. See, unfortunately for us, we get stuck on divine sovereignty. The two things that bring deliverance, the two things that bring breakthrough, the two things that bring miracles: divine sovereignty, human responsibility. This is John Calvin. That's how God, often when God acts in our lives, it's because of divine sovereignty and human responsibility. Can I break it down further? I'm gonna let y'all go. Think about this. God tells Moses brings the Hebrew people out of Egypt. They get down to the Red Sea. Pharaoh starts chasing behind them. The people want to go back. Moses is crying. God says, Moses, tell you what, I'm gonna open this Red Sea for you. Okay? I've got the power to open the Red Sea, or the Yam Suf, as it's called in Hebrew, Yam Suf. I'll open this sea for you so your people can come through. That's divine sovereignty. But before I open this Red Sea for you, Moses, you got to stretch out your rod. Human responsibility. So if people activate providence can act. Thank you. You got it, Lily. So we want God to open the Red Sea, but we stretch out your rod. Let me give you another one. Okay, Joshua, I'll make the walls of Jericho come tumbling down. That's divine sovereignty. But you and the people got to march around the wall 7 times. And on the 7th time, I need y'all to shout. That's human responsibility. Are y'all with me? Okay. Elijah, I call down heaven I call down fire from heaven on Mount Carmel. That's divine sovereignty. But you got to build an altar and build the trenches and put water on it. Human responsibility. Y'all with me? All right. Okay. Woman with the issue of blood. I got enough medicine in the hem of my garment to heal you of your 12 years of hemorrhaging. Divine sovereignty. But you got to reach out and touch it. Human responsibility. Y'all at the wedding in Cana of Galilee and they ran out of wine. I got power to turn water into wine. Divine sovereignty. But y'all got to go get the water pots and fill them up with water. Human responsibility. Blind man. I got power to spit on the ground and make clay out of the spittle and pick up the clay and put on your eyes. Divine sovereignty. But you got to go wash in the pool of Siloam. Human responsibility. I can speak Lazarus come forth and Lazarus will come from the grave. Divine sovereignty. But I need y'all to move them stones from out in front of that grave so he can walk out. Human responsibility. I can go over and over. Paul and Silas, I can make an earthquake at midnight. And the earthquake release y'all bonds and y'all be set free. Divine sovereignty. But y'all got to pray and sing at midnight. Human responsibility. I can go on and on, and I can stay here we can stay here all day doing this. All day long we can do this. I can take y'all from Genesis to Revelation to show you that often in our lives, most of every miracle that was ever performed, nearly every percent of the miracle, probably 95% of the miracles. I want to put, I would say 95% of the miracles that I read in the Bible weren't just because of divine sovereignty. It also had an element of human responsibility, right? People, when y'all fighting, and Moses, I'll let Moses be victorious in battle. All right, but Aaron and her, y'all got to get up on and hold his arms up. As long as Moses' arm was held up, they won. When his arms dropped, they lost. God said, I can give y'all the victory, divine sovereignty, but y'all got to hold his arms. Human responsibility. I can go on. Listen, I don't want to insult your intelligence, but we can do this all day long. And when you read the Bible, rarely do you see miracles with just one dimensional. Rarely will you see breakthrough. Naaman, you got leprosy, right? I got power to send the prophet to heal you, divine sovereignty, but you got to go dip in the Jordan 7 times. Human responsibility. We can do this all day long, y'all, without getting tired. It's just because it's so true. What am I saying? I'm saying is that even though providence acts, people can activate and prayer activates. And so whatever you believe in God for in your life, don't just think it's all a matter of God's government and God's providence. God's providence does not circumvent. God's providence does not eliminate the responsibility of human responsibility. That's why James put it this way: faith without works is dead. And I think what's messed us up, y'all, is we started we got to be careful about this. And I know, because don't get me wrong, I believe in positive confession. I believe in positive daily declarations. I believe in that. But part of our problem is we make faith all about what you speak with your mouth. Just speak it. Just put in the atmosphere. I decree. I can have what I speak. Uh, you know, death and life in the power of your tongue. Name it and claim it. You know, just open your mouth and speak it. And I think we messed up because let me tell you something. And don't y'all get mad. Well, I hope you don't get mad. But I gotta be honest with you. You ain't gonna have everything you speak. That's bad theology. Should we speak positive declarations? Yes. Is death and life in our tongue? Yes. Should we make positive confessions and positive affirmations daily? Yes. But just because you speak it don't mean that's it. You gotta do more than speak. The woman just couldn't speak. You gotta act. You gotta activate it. Let me give you an example. Because I know y'all got mad. I know y'all get mad. Y'all be getting mad because you feel like I'm messing with your theology. But I love you too much to lie to you. Just opening your mouth is not gonna make it happen. Okay? All right, let me give you an example. It's April now. I've been telling myself for the last few years I'm gonna lose some weight, right? And I've been taking it seriously this year. And I'm down. I dropped 20 and picked up 5, but my birthday is in June, right? And I got a goal, right? But I can't get up and just say, weight, fall off now. In Jesus' name, come off. I speak that my belly is going down. I speak in Jesus' name. Size 34 waist. Baby, that ain't faith. That's foolishness. See? Lord, in the name of Jesus, I name and claim. Oh, muscles now. I declare a 6-pack now. It don't come like that, family. And I think part of our preaching and teaching, we've been a little one-dimensional because we think it's all open up my mouth and scream. If I open my mouth and scream and just speak in the atmosphere, no. Yeah, death and life are in your tongue. But weight loss is also not diet. It's in drinking water. It's in getting on the treadmill. It's in doing some Pilates. And I just want to make sure that we are not those people, that we're not one dimension. Yeah, keep speaking. Yeah, this is my year. I'm gonna lose weight. Yeah, you can speak it. That because words can shift your atmosphere. Words can empower your mind. Words can improve your faith and improve your trust and your confidence and shift your mood. But if those words, if you're trying to lose weight like me by the end of June, you gotta have more than words. Power come now. Weight fall off now, and then as soon as you said it, you go right and get you a pork chop sandwich. No, that's not. No, the actions have to line up with your words. I hope I'm making sense, and see, and it doesn't mean now. Does God? Now let me give you an example. Does God have the power right now? If God wanted to, that God can snap His fingers and you look down your belly and you just your stomach just trim and you just ain't got no dimples nowhere, no cellulite. Does God have the power to do that? Yes. If God wanted to, God just like this, and everybody be fine. But that it don't come like that, y'all. God got much better thing to do. Why would God give you just a trim body like that, just like that, and know your diet gonna put it right back on in 6 months? God got much better things to do like that. No, you and I have the power to activate. God can snap His fingers and fill your bank account up. But why would God do that and know we're not undisciplined? We got to realize that just because there's providence, just because providence acts, does not mean that people can't activate. And whatever actions we want from providence, we got to ask ourselves, are we activating that as people? Because if there are going to be miracles, breakthrough, that's good, Antoinette. Your actions determine your outcome. Yes. And it doesn't mean God ain't still governing. It doesn't mean God is not still providential. But we always want to put it on God, and God is saying, no, no, dude, no. No, you want God to heal your marriage? Can God do it? Yes. Yeah, God can heal your marriage. But why would God heal your marriage and you ain't never home? You want the wife to build trust in you. Why would God do that and you run the streets all weekend with your boys? Huh? Golfing with your frat brothers, playing cards in the club, and want to come home at 3 o'clock in the morning and be mad because, you know, because it's cold in the house. Listen, God, listen. Don't say you want God to do this, but then your actions don't line up. No, your work. What kind of work you putting in? Okay, you want the man to come home and rekindle, but what kind of home? What do you do? What are you providing for him when he get there? Y'all quiet. Look how y'all looking. Look how you looking. Look how you looking. I know you don't like what I'm saying. There are some things that God can do, but some things we can do. And it doesn't mean God is not providential. If you want miracles, breakthrough, and deliverance, it's going to involve divine sovereignty and also human responsibility. All right, y'all. Y'all tune in next Friday. I know y'all tuning me out. I can tell y'all acting funny, but I'm telling you the truth in love. All right. I'll be on tonight live at 11 o'clock for Friday Night Live. It's gonna be funny to death tonight. We're gonna laugh. I'm gonna try to bust y'all spleen tonight. So y'all get y'all some rest and tune in tonight for Friday Night Live. We're gonna laugh our heads off tonight. All right, live. It'll be a live show tonight. Y'all tune in. I love you. Hope y'all still love me after this lesson. I know you didn't want to hear it. And I'm not telling you don't speak it with your words. But once you speak with your words, you got it. You got it, Sister Maria. We can speak it all we want to speak it with our words. And God has a power, providential actions. That's divine sovereignty. But people can activate. That's human responsibility. And at the end of the day, whatever you want God to do in your life, we have to ask ourselves the question: do my actions indicate that I'm in agreement with what I want? And that's tough. Y'all know how much I love Krispy Kreme. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. I've been very honest that my name is Dewey and I'm an addict, right? I'm addicted to Krispy Kreme. Y'all know that. But y'all be blessed to know that I have been staying away from them, right? Because I can't say I want God to do this, help me do this, and then my actions don't line up with what I say. Krispy Kreme and weight loss don't go together. So I gotta make a decision. Do I want the weight loss, or I can't have both of them. Can't have both of them. So I gotta ask myself the question. So and no need of me praying to God to help me lose weight, and I go right ahead and go get me a dozen. Don't work like that. Don't work like that. So if I want something sweet, okay, can I get a smoothie? Can I buy some fruit? Right? My actions, I have to activate how I want Providence to act. So how I want Providence to act, I've got to activate that. Make sense? I hope y'all with me here. Thank you, Tina. And had a good week, and I hope y'all had a good week. And it's helping a lot of people. I hope so. Thanks to God. And I hope so. It is the truth. It is the truth. It is the truth. And I just hope it makes sense. If my action, I cannot want God to act a certain way, and I'm not activating in my own life how I want God to act, because it don't line up. I'm going this way, but I want God to go that way. It don't work like that. I have to be in alignment. My actions have to align with my prayers and my requests. And if my actions don't align with my prayer and my requests, now I'm just making noise. That ain't prayer. That's hocus pocus. That's wishful. There's a difference between prayer and wishful thinking. Maybe this wasn't a good lesson, but we need divine sovereignty and human responsibility. Gonna let y'all go this time. I love y'all so much. Anyhow, know y'all don't love me. I know y'all don't cut me. I know y'all don't cut me off, but I love you anyway. I love you in Jesus' name. And you can't, and then nothing you can do about it. I know y'all can't stand me right now, but I love you now. I know y'all don't want to fool me at all. Y'all done logged off and say he done lost his mind. Somebody I'm leaving. I'm not telling you, man. I'm not telling you to leave chocolate. I'm just saying you maybe you do it in moderation, but you have to look at everything. I'm not saying you can't splurge on a Saturday or something, but we just gotta ask ourselves the question: do my, you know, I don't eat a lot, but I like a lot of I like lemonade. You know what I mean? I like tea. You know what I mean? You gotta drink water. Gotta drink more water, right? Can you drink lemonade once a week? Right. Yeah, perhaps you just moderation. I'm not trying to tell you just nah. I'm not gonna tell you I'm not gonna never eat another Krispy Kreme in my life. That's a lie. I am not gonna get up and tell y'all that. I will eat another Krispy Kreme at some point, but I just can't do that right now, right? So I gotta stick for something else, some walnuts or some cashews. You just gotta find up until you get to the goal, right? But at the end, and I'm not just speaking food. I'm like this could be financing with your budget. This could be cleaning your house. That's fun thing. Some of y'all want God to give you a 4-bedroom house. Why would God give you a 4-bedroom house and your 2-bedroom apartment nasty? Why, why would God give you a 2021 car and you won't clean the 2004? Are you kidding me? Hmm. Your actions, our actions, we have to activate how we want prophets to act. All right. Yeah, y'all not happy with me today, but I love you. I hope y'all can forgive. The Bible says you're supposed to forgive. That means you're supposed to forgive the preacher too. And I done made a lot of mistakes, but I didn't make no mistake today. But I told the truth today. I didn't make no mistakes today. I told y'all the truth. And I just hope y'all can love me through the good and the bad. Because I love y'all. And that's why I'm telling you the truth. We all gotta look at ourselves and say, do my actions line up with how I want Providence to act? Go let y'all go. But as always, remember this. If you will be good to God, then God will be good to you. Till next time. Peace.